Hello, this is Jenny at Designs with Paper. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I have a card making video for you today, and this card was made for some very special people for their anniversary. I have this mint owl stamp set that I thought I was going to use. I have this piece of kind of waxed brown twine. I have two pieces of this craft color cardstock, a card front size and a little scrappy piece. I have a whole bunch of leftover leaf die cuts that I cut out for an art journal page that I will link to. And I have this daisy die from Simon Says Stamp and a piece of blue cardstock for my card base. I will also be using these Lawn Fawn stitch rectangle dies. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and get all the die cutting done. And I will be using the largest of these small stitched rectangles to create my card front. And this will make a card front that is approximately 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches tall with a stitched edge along, or a stitched border around the edge. And I am just going to tape this die down in place before I run it through my die cut machine. Not that it really matters if it shifts, but hey, good habits are good habits. I am using a little bit of paper washi tape just to make sure that it doesn't tear the paper when I pull it up off of after I run it through my die cut machine. I will also be cutting this daisy die. Oh my goodness. It has 3 pieces. There is a top piece, a bottom piece, and a stem. I will not be using the stem today. And I want to take these daisies and make them look like sunflowers. So I will be cutting them out multiple times. I actually cut the top layer out only 3 times and the bottom layer out 6 times so that each flower has 3 different layers that I can kind of offset to create the sunflower look. I also decided I wanted to add a little bit of dimension on these layers with some ink and a little bit of ink blending with this little brush. And I pulled out an orange that was way too dark. This is an Ultimate ink. And I decided I better knock that back just a little bit. So I changed directions and pulled out a lighter color. This is, paper bag, I think is the name of this color. I don't know. I need to really get better about writing those things down. Or not putting them away until I'm done so that I can. And I'm just starting in the center and working out to the petals because I want the petals to have that color at the base. The centers are actually going to be covered up. I used the top die to cut out the centers with brown cardstock. So I will be covering that up. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't look beautiful. Now you can see I'm just trying to layer these pieces on top of each other so that they are kind of offset and a little bit full. I have this card base or card front, there we go, and I decided I wanted to add a wreath. And I have this wreath die set that I purchased from Hobby Lobby on a clearance rack. And I've cut that out with a piece of green cardstock from my scrap pile on my desk. And it just fits the front of this card base. So I'm going to start layering my flowers and my leaves to figure out where I want everything to go. And I have noticed that there was one little section of this wreath where the leaves aren't cut quite right, like I ran out of paper or the dice shifted just a little bit. So I'm going to make sure and cover that side up with my flowers. And I will arrange these 3 sunflowers down at the bottom left corner, kind of blending their petals together, kind of a more organic look, hopefully something you would find in nature. And I'm trying to decide what it is about this I'm not loving yet. So I pull out my tray of leaves. You can see there's a whole bunch of them there. These are leftovers from an art journal page that I created a couple weeks back, and I will link that in the end and at the bottom information box below if you want to check out that video. And I'm still not loving it. And I've decided that the cardstock, the craft color cardstock, needs something. So I have this Stampin' Up! Stamp set that is kind of grunge. I don't know what it's called. It's kind of an older one. And I'm going to take that kind of polka dotty one. I shouldn't say polka dots. It looks like paint splats, but little tiny ones. And I inked up that stamp and then stamped it off first to see if that was necessary. And the ink that I chose, I think it's Crumb Cake ink from Stampin' Up!, is perfect on this paper. So this probably is Stampin' Up! Crumb Cake paper. You know, I don't know. I don't label the names of my cardstock anymore. I used to do that, but I decided I go by color, not by name, so whatever. And I mix up all my colors or all my brands. They're all just sorted by color. Of course, in rainbow order. Is there any other way to sort your cardstock? Hello. I am working on a silicone craft mat here because the glue will stick to it and not my fingers in theory. And I can hopefully get this wreath down onto my card front without getting glue all over my fingers. I know it's wishful thinking because it's liquid glue and me, and we have kind of this love-hate relationship. I did kind of stretch this wreath to be more of an oval shape than a complete circle, and I liked that better. Now I'm going to move on to my sunflowers, and I am going to stick them down with a little piece of foam tape. And I am using this giant roll of 3M foam tape, and it is gradually getting smaller and smaller. But that's okay. I can buy more. That's why we buy supplies, to use them, right? We don't buy supplies to hoard them. We don't buy supplies to hoard them. That is my new mantra. We buy supplies to use them. Okay, so how I had it before is I had these 3 sunflowers down here in the bottom left-hand corner, and I'm going to go ahead and put those right back down on there, and then I will start to adhere the leaves. Now, for real, I could have sped this part up a little more than I did, and I could have even edited it out. But I decided to go ahead and leave this in because this is why I watch YouTube. I watch YouTube to learn how other people do things. Maybe it's something I haven't thought of before, or it's something I haven't tried, or a new way of doing something that I hadn't thought of, or that you know what I'm saying. And I thought I would leave this process part in so that you could see how I fiddle with things, right? Not because I fiddle with things in some great way, but it's a learning curve. We're all learning new things. One of the things that I learned when I made this card was that reverse clamp tweezers are my best friend. Now, I've had these. In fact, this is my 2nd pair for a number of years, and I don't pull them out of my tool drawer nearly as often as I should. But they really are a remarkable tool. Anyway, and now I'm trying to get I get the glue on my fingers, and it just makes me fidgety. I don't even know. Anyways, talking about YouTube. We go on YouTube, or I go on YouTube, so that I can learn how to do something new, or I can see how other people do the same kind of things that I am doing. And while I do love the videos that show all of the new product and the new releases that are coming out, I mostly love the how-tos or the creative parts of the videos. So I want you to leave me a comment and let me know, why do you watch videos on YouTube? Mm-hmm. Do you watch them for information, entertainment, hauls, all of the above? Let me know what it is about the YouTube videos that you watch that you love. And let me know if there's something that you would like me to try. If it's in my wheelhouse, I will try. I make no promises that it will be perfect or beautiful, but I will try. Anyway, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. I have added leaves to the top sunflower and the middle sunflower, and now I am just going to go ahead and add a few more down here on this bottom sunflower. I felt like it just needed to be a little bit more full. Have you ever seen those leaves, or sorry, not leaves, wreaths that are kind of pitiful looking because there's not much there? That's how I felt like this was looking. I felt like it just needed just a little bit more. Now, typically speaking, when I say just a little bit more, I've pushed it completely over the edge, but I think it turned out so cute. And I hope that my brother and sister-in-law who get this card will love, 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 love it. And I hope that it gets there in the mail before this video, because you know the post office these days is kind of sort of slow. I don't know if you had noticed that or not. And they've promised us that they're just going to get a little bit slower. Okay, so I have this light blue card base, and it is 4 1/4 inches wide by 11 inches tall, and it is scored at 5 1/2 inches in the middle to make it a top fold portrait card. And I have added foam tape to the back of my card front here to pop it up and give it just a little bit of dimension. And like always, I'm not chintzy with my foam tape. I did everything but make an entire solid background of foam tape on that card panel. And you can see that the sunflowers hang off just a little bit. And I really struggled with whether or not I was going to cut those off. And I didn't. I was going to use that mint owl stamp, but the sentiment was way too big. So I pulled out this old Stampin' Up. This is like one of my very first Stampin' Up stamp sets because it's all sentiments. And that is originally why I started buying stamps. for the sentiments because I hate my handwriting. I think it's called Teeny Tiny Wishes. And they are small. They'll fit anywhere. And these are still wood block mounted. I don't have hardly any of those. I pulled out a darker brown because that crumb cake did not really stamp dark enough. And then I smushed it because I pushed down too hard because it's a wood mounted stamp. And that is my downfall with wood mounted stamps. Aha! Third time's the charm. There we go. Stamped super nice and pretty. This stamp set was originally, okay, I don't know originally. When I bought this stamp set, these two punches were made to coordinate with it. So you have this little kind of oval word strip, and then this kind of, I don't know what that shape would be, label shape to layer the word strip on top of. And I have found that those two punches and this stamp set are probably my most used out of my stamps. And that could be because I've had them like literally forever. I think, gosh, I don't even know what year I started buying stamps. But it was probably somewhere in the 2007, 2008 time frame. And it is now 2021. That's how long I think I may have had this stamp set. Yikes, I know, right? We do not hoard, we use. I am just using my reverse clamp tweezers here to try and get this tucked in underneath my sunflowers and nestled into my wreath right there. I felt like that was kind of the perfect place for it to be. It's a little bit crooked and I'll have to do some fiddling with it later, but the next thing I did was to pull out a white gel pen to add some highlights to the centers of my sunflowers. And it just kind of made that center part look even better. So I will now take a piece of white copy paper that is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches and put some tape runner on it and put it on the inside of the card so that I have a clean place to write a very special message. I do that with all of my cards unless they are on white cardstock, and then probably I don't. So here is the card. I did not end up using the twine. I love how this card turned out. I've got to tell you, this is one of my recent favorites. Do me a favor, let me know how you feel about this card. Leave me a comment, and if you have not done so already, please subscribe to my channel, and I have linked a couple videos here at the end for you to watch. Thank you so much. Have a great day,